Some sad news. This weekend, I was supposed to be performing at the Comedy Store here in La Jolla. They had set up the club outside in the back alley. They had put a stage out there. They put some market lights. They put some tables spaced out so no one was jammed together. They were calling it their Summer Back Alley series, so they branded it. They put in all this work. And I believe they reached out to local city officials to make sure that everything was being done okay and up to par and, we're good. They started serving food because the city only allowed restaurants to be open, not bars. So bars that didn't used to serve food now serve food, and that's what the Comedy Store did. They offered a food thing so they could be open. They were outside doing comedy, living life. I think they got 3 weekends worth of back alley shows done, and my weekend was supposed to be this weekend, and police came and shut it all down last Saturday. Last Saturday before the show, my friends Taylor Tomlinson was headlining, my buddy Dustin Nickerson was featuring for her, and they came like an hour before showtime and shut it down. And they said this isn't in compliance. It never said anywhere that you're not allowed to do live stand-up, which I don't... Stand-up comedy has always been the bastard child of the entertainment business. They don't know how to label us, okay? The reason they shut us down is because they're not allowing concert venues to be open. Like arenas, theaters that seat thousands, or arenas that seat tens of thousands, or stadiums, whatever. That's what they're thinking. This isn't the Rolling Stones, all right? Who were supposed to come to San Diego, I think, in May, and none of that happened. But we're not the Stones. We're not Metallica, all right? It's 50 people, maybe, spread out in a back alley while a comedian who is far away from all of that talks for a while. But we're being clumped in with AC/DC coming through town. By the way, I understand that my band references are very old and dated. Who's new? Instead of Metallica, pretend I said some DJ who's like some white guy with like a symbol for a name. Whatever, that guy. Okay? We're not the same. But comedy's been treated that way throughout history. I mean, for years, there weren't comedy clubs. I think Lenny Bruce opened for bands, right? Based on the only comedy history I really know is watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and that's what it seemed like. There weren't proper comedy clubs. You opened for musical acts, so we were always clumped in with a big setting, and that's not what comedy is. We should be treated more like a restaurant with a band in the corner. That's what a comedy club is. It's a restaurant bar with a band in the corner. That's how we should be labeled. We should not be... Comedy clubs shouldn't be set to the same COVID standards as the sports arena. Limp Bizkit isn't coming through. Oh, God. That's the newest band reference I could come up with? Paramore. That's still 2008. Ariana Grande. There we go. I'm going with Ariana Grande. That's not who's performing. There's not going to be screaming, jam-packed, jumping up and down. Everyone. That's not what's happening. It's a comedy club. Outside. Spaced out. Little tables. Buy some pub mix. 2 drinks. Some guy talking. That's it. But this weekend it got shut down. The Comedy Store wasn't the only one. Also the Comedy Palace and American Comedy Company downtown. Is it fair? No. No, it's not fair. It's the classic, is it in the best interest of public safety? Maybe. You would have to ask someone with a degree on the wall. I don't have that. I have a portrait of my own face on the wall. So, if you're at all offended by this opinion or any others, that should deflate any of it. You should go, I shouldn't be upset by some douche who has a painting of his own face on a wall over his shoulder. Is it for the best of public interest? I don't think so. Based on what doctors have been saying, if a restaurant can be allowed outside, spaced, distanced, servers wearing masks, patrons wearing masks until they get to their table to shove food down their pie holes, then I believe, what's the difference if over there in the corner someone in a leather jacket tells jokes? Who's that offending? who's not? I mean, not who's that offending. You can definitely say things to offend somebody, but who's that hurting with the virus? Who? I don't understand. But I think a lot of it we don't understand. And I'm not one of those anti-maskers. I don't think the virus is a hoax. I believe in our medical professionals. I believe that what was allowed to open and what wasn't, and what procedures were put in place were developed by medical professionals, I hope. If they weren't, what a mistake. But I believe they put the standards and practices in there for the businesses to follow, and it's just heartbreaking when comedy clubs go out of their way to follow that and they still get shut down because they put money into it. You know, go on Instagram and check out the Comedy Store setup back in the alley. They put some work into it. They put a little bit of money into it. Same with the Comedy Palace. I'm sure same with American Comedy Company. And to have them come in and say, you guys aren't allowed to be open, but that restaurant across the street that serves sushi, they can do it because they're outside and their waiters aren't funny. It's such a weird... It's like being told what to do by an engineer who just looks at things in black and white. This is allowed, this isn't allowed. Yeah, but we need someone with some sympathy and understanding. And less of a mechanical brain and more of a, yeah, but, oh, that should be allowed. That maybe shouldn't be allowed. That's how it needs to be, but we want to paint everything black and white, and it's just frustrating. Really, I'm only complaining because I missed my weekend, and I'm 100% selfish. 100%. At least I'm honest. I wanted to perform. I was going to get 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, 1 show each night, to perform proper stand-up comedy outside, which isn't ideal, but we've all succumbed to that. I've done 2 shows on my computer, like virtual shows. I've come to actually enjoy those. So now I'm willing to do comedy outside, as are hundreds of other stand-up comedians, and then right before my weekend, they go, no, we're shutting this down. Honestly, if I would have gotten my weekend in, and then they shut it down, I would have been like... At least I got my weekend in, which is a horribly selfish thing to say, but that's, I don't want to be a liar. So anyway, my shows this weekend at the Comedy Store, no mas. That doesn't mean it won't get rescheduled for a later date. Maybe the city will say, hey, we made a mistake, or the state. I'm not even sure who shut it down. People with badges. People with badges. And someone posted that one of the cops that came to shut down the Comedy Store, once everything got shut down and settled, one of them turned to the manager, Mike Vinn, and then asked how they can sign up for the open mic. Just goes to show you. The cops that are even coming to shut down the comedy club are just, in essence, foot soldiers being told what to do. They didn't get to go in and play that scenario and go like, oh, they are following rules. They came there specifically because they got told from a higher up to shut that down, and nothing was going to change their mind. And that's why at the very end, one of the cops was like, hey, can we get signed up for the open mic? No, you're not allowed.